Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021. I'm Lisa Frost, a member and Director of Spiritual Formation at University United Methodist Church in Baton Rouge. It's good to spend a little midweek time with you this week. I don't know if there's been another year that's been as highly anticipated as 2021, at least not in a long time. It's been a difficult 2020. And we're looking forward to the hopefulness of this new year. Even saying that, I know there's lots of tension and difficulty still nationwide. But we're going to move into the new year with as much hope as we can. So grab a piece of paper and a pencil too if you can. We may jot some things down later on this morning. We continue to offer these kind of snippets and thoughts each Wednesday as a way to stay connected, even as we are still very disconnected, often in time and space. Reverend Katie McKay Simpson and Dr. John Fletcher and I have been rotating these weeks since this summer. Every time I wonder if I have anything to say that's useful or helpful or interesting. So I'm going to do what I usually do, is just offer up what's on my desk and on my mind today. It's the new year for me. That's what's on my mind, and that's what's on my desk. This week, even though we're 2 weeks into 2021, I'm still working on my own goals and resolutions and ideas for the year. I know you're going to push back, some of you, saying, I don't do resolutions. It sets you up for failure. Makes me very resistant. I don't want to do any of that. Well, I'll tell you, I don't like to have to do things either. But I do find that some of the practice of this time of year of looking backward for last year and forward to this coming year, I find that very helpful. And actually, some people thrive on lists and resolutions and goals, like my daughter, Elizabeth, who loves a good list. By thinking, though, in January, or anytime you want to begin this process, January is just a good one for most people. It does help us spend some time thinking, how do we want to intentionally use at least some of our time? I talked about this some back in July when we were beginning to navigate the difference that we were finding ourselves in COVID time. The things we couldn't do anymore that we wanted to do, things that we could do that we now had some extra time for. And we talked a little bit then about finding a rhythm or rule of life, how you want to spend your days. And again, January is just the perfect time to rethink and evaluate those the way you like to. I'm going to give you a couple of things that I think are fun to do this time of year. The first is choose a theme word. Katie talked about this in her December midweek devotional, and it's been a practice of mine too for several years. I first started this listening to Gretchen Rubin, who, if you know me, you know I love to read her and listen to her, who wrote The Happiness Project. She and her sister picked words each year and kind of let them be a theme for their year, and I thought that sounded so much more fun than a New Year's resolution. She and her sister Liz Craft talk about theirs every year on their podcast. Some of their words have been open. I think a couple of years ago, one of them was lighter. You might think about words that attract you, like brave, or rest, or surrender, or enough, or walk, or listen. My word for 2020 was health. I would not have anticipated that it became such an important part of everyone's year. I even have a little disc on my keychain that Elizabeth made for me that says health, that just reminded me when I saw my keys that was my intention. Was a bit of irony that we would be quarantined for so much of the year. We didn't know what was on the horizon, but still, most of what I worked with last year was tied to that word: physical health, mental health, spiritual health. How would I build those things into my days and routines? This year in December, I started a list of words that might be my word for this year. See and light were two of them, I remember. And then all of a sudden, practice popped in my brain, and I immediately thought, that's my word for this year. Again, it circles back for me in my intention of trying things, not being perfect or even best. A gentle way to choose, but still to choose how I spend my time and my attention. I would love to hear your words. If this is your practice, or if you want to start one this year, let me know. You can send me an email, or I may post this question on our Facebook page on Wednesday, and you can just speak your word if you like. Now, my second fun thing to do, again, at least to me, it's fun, is picking things I want to do this year. So this is a little different to me than a resolution. I must do these very hard things. I don't want to do that. These aren't necessarily goals or resolutions, though they could be. Again, in Gretchen Rubin's podcast, she's the one that started me doing this in 2018. She did 18 things for 2018. Get it? So this year I'm working on 21 things for 2021. If 21 is too many, you might want to just pick 21 books you want to read this year, or 21 days you want to hike somewhere new this year. It's your list, so you can make it the way you want to. I keep my list around so that I can look at it. Here's some of my former lists. I quit looking at my 2020 list in about April, although I did still do some things that were on my list. Here's some things that have been on previous lists for me. Start a journal of books I've read. I did start the journal, but I didn't keep it up. Practice Sabbath rest on Sunday. I'm getting much better at that one. Walk every day. That's been the one that has stuck with me all of 2020. And still into 2021. Clean out Christmas decorations and give away what we don't use. I did that immediately last year as I packed up my 2019 Christmas decorations. And it was so good to do this year because what I pulled out of the attic was exactly what I wanted. So that was really good. Here's one that I did, also kind of had immediate gratification, which was buy new sheets for our beds, something I just procrastinated. But once it was on my list, I could quickly scratch it off with just a trip on the internet. Plan a silent retreat. I did that for 2020, and we did our silent retreat that first quarter right before our quarantine started. Practice yoga twice a week. I didn't ever do this. But it's going to make a reappearance on my 2021 list as do 30 days of yoga in a row. I hadn't started it yet. I'll let you know how it goes. As you can see, it's a wide-ranging list. Fun things, places to travel, people you want to see. Also things that you've procrastinated on that might just require a phone call or two, like setting up a physical with your doctor or getting your eyes checked. It can also be daily things that you just want to do. So if you're like me, you might say, that's really very interesting, and then not find time to do it. So here's some free time for you. I hope you've got a pen and paper. If you're driving, you can just think about this. Don't write while you drive. That's dangerous. But if you've got your pencil and your paper, we're going to spend just a couple of minutes jotting. These are things that come quickly to your mind, and there's no grades, and you don't have to share this with anybody else. So pencil and paper, what words kind of attract your attention that could be theme words for you this year? Write down 5 or 10 of them. I'm going to give you time. Do you have some? You can keep thinking about that. Now, here's a couple of questions, and these are going to be on our website with the midweek devotional. But I want you just to start the creative process of actually jotting some thoughts down. What kind of balance do you need in your life? What do you need more of or less of? What are you thinking? Like 30 seconds, write a couple of things down. Okay, that's a good starting place for you. What is happening around you when you feel closest to God? What's happening around you? Where are you? What is happening? Where are you being called to stretch and grow? Is there something that's calling a little bit to you that you're maybe ignoring a little bit? Where are you called to stretch and grow? I'm going to have to think about that one a while myself. So there's a start to maybe your 21 things for 2021, maybe for a theme word for the year, maybe just a simple idea of what you would like to try. Look over your words. You can look over these questions. They'll be on the website later. Again, from what's on my desk right now. John McQuiston's book, Always We Begin Again. So I'll just leave you with this little reminder of your to-do lists. He wrote, bear in mind that the seasons bring changes. Flexibility is required in all things human. Do not be afraid to vary your schedule as long as you're consistent with the spirit of daily balance. So here's to wishing you a wonderful, happy new year, a hopeful one, where you can practice what God's calling you to practice.